Hey guys, how's it going? My name's always and welcome back to Stoneblock 3. In the last episode, we were making mistakes. We last time got together a little bit of a system over there to crush netherrack, which has gotten us some ancient debris and cobalt, as well as the ichor crystals that we need for our hammer that we're trying to make. But unfortunately, we need blazing blood in our smeltery to be hot enough to make the hammer material, the hepazon, or however you say it. This stuff needs blazing blood to melt. So yeah, we got to get some of that stuff. And we came back to a base that was low on power. So we need to make more power. We need to get better power source. Our thermal heat generator is not doing well for what we need, so we need to improve that. So that's what we're going to work on today. That means we need to go to the other dungeon. We need to go to the Nether Dungeon, which we have encountered. It is relatively close to where our tunnel bore is, and this is going to be where we can get blazes, and we need blazes. We need a lot of blaze powder because I want to use thermo generators from power. These are really good. They're really cheap. They're passive power. Well, they're not really cheap, but they're passive power. The starter one generates 20 FE per tick, or RF, or whatever you want to call it, whereas the top one generates 800. Now, that's not that great, but if we can make a couple of them, it's passive power, so we don't have to worry about anything. It makes a lot more than anything else. I mean, this thing only generates 40 RF per tick, so just having a hardened tier would be perfect. So that's something that we're going to start working towards. And before we go out to start working on some of that stuff, we need to do some crafting, and specifically we need to teach the system how to craft crafters, which is a weird statement, but we can't. Right, I forgot. I forgot that the cores are complicated. Okay, so can we get some more patterns? We're gonna want a handful more patterns. Okay, we can do that easily. Because we're going to want to teach the system how to make some of the power stuff, specifically the dielectric casings. Dielectric rods are going to be important. The dielectric paste is really, really important because this stuff will go through so quickly. And we're going to need blaze powder. So we can't make the thermo generators until we get a good supply of blaze powder because it needs thermo plates, which require blaze powder. You get the idea. Anyways, last time we were exploring the stone dungeon, we found a now chemical bag, which is pretty cool. We do have a little bit of blaze powder, and we have just a ton of stuff. And I'm not even going to worry about that. We're going to head right out and go explore. We're going to take this thing with us because that's going to be super important. So let's use our TempPad. Run program. Let's go to Nether Dungeon. I did make a teleport point for that. And let's just jump into this area. So, as you can see, we are... no! Oh, man. Alright, well, we'll go back there in a couple minutes. So I guess while we're doing that, there's a couple things that we need to do. We're going to make this thing. So it is relatively simple. And I should have made it a long time ago, but it's been annoying me. So now we're going to make one. Unfortunately, I went through another teleporter. That was terrible. Terrible luck. But yeah, we're gonna head to the dungeon. We're gonna get some blazes and blaze rods. Our sword just has sharpness on it. We could probably improve that later, but what we just made was an advanced demagnetization coil. This thing is going to be very useful. Because right now, if we get too close over here, when items fall here, they pick stuff up. I think if we put 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, yeah, that should be good. Right here. No. Yes. Alright, so we could probably bring this in a little bit. Let's do 4, and I think we can do 4. That works there. And let's keep it at that. Let's keep it 5 by 5. So this is the area that if we have our magnet out, our magnet will not pick up anything on the ground in this area at all. So as long as the item is in that area, we can't pick it up, which is perfect. So that is what we want. That's just to prevent me from picking up all the ores that fall out of here, because I do that more often than I like, and I would like to not do that. So that fixes that problem. While we're also waiting, something that we're going to have to do relatively soon is we need to get some flux dust so that we can get into... Hey, we can get it through a metallurgic infuser. We have one of those, I believe. We do have some dielectric rods. We do have some power stuff. We have an energy cell that holds a lot of... Oh no, an ender cell. That is slightly different. There is our metallurgic infuser. Can we use the respawn anchor for anything good? No, of course not. So there's a lot of things we can kind of work with. And this infuser will be very useful very soon. I'm going to put that in here because we are going to need that. I want to get to getting wireless redstone, or not redstone, wireless power. That would be really good. We're going to have to get these energizing rods, which all of power is upgradable. So you start with the starter tier and it goes all the way up to nitro. We cannot make nitro yet. Anything that's nitro we cannot make because it requires nether stars. We don't have those yet. But I want to teach the system how to make some of these pieces. So dielectric paste, we'll teach you how to make that. And that's where I wanted to get some more crafters. So that might be something I'll have to do later. We're going to want, you know, like basic capacitors with a redstone block. So we're going to have to teach the system how to make those. We're going to want to teach it how to make, you know, the casings and the rods. What we'll do is probably... we'll probably do something... Is the bee, like, right underneath us? And okay, that's funny. So this bee is in range to give us loot. We're picking up stuff from it. It gave us some dark matter, some aluminum, but it gave us multiple luggage. It gave us mana steel. This is the last piece of mana steel that we needed in order to make the other large plate that I wanted. I don't actually know. Cannot shape. Okay, so we have to melt it down, which is not a problem. I think we can melt this down in just a normal... Yeah, it will melt down in lava. So that bee just saved us from having to go get a bunch more stuff. Also, dark matter is always nice to see. So I need to get more crafters. And I'm going to teach the system how to automatically craft crafters at some point. But we need to automate this whole system. And that's not something I really want to do today. So I think we can go ahead and head out. I know I'm a little bit all over the place. I kind of got thrown off by this thing not working like I wanted it to. But there is our last of the large plates. Now all we need is blazing blood so that we can get the hammerhead, and then we just get the expand modifiers, and I have my 5x5 mining tool, and we can dig out more areas to do more stuff. So things are going. But yeah, we're gonna get into a lot of power probably today, potentially. But let's go try again to get to the Nether Dungeon. I understand why this has a timer, but at the same time, I despise it. Let's wait for that to disappear. And we're going to grab the cardboard boxes. So right in this area, we should be able... Okay, so we are over top of it. Let's see. If we look at the map, there is... let's look for something. Nether bricks at -120. Okay, that's probably below. -45. Alright, so I guess let's dig down. Where do we want to dig down at? I guess right here-ish. But let's just head downwards and see if this is where the dungeon actually is. I'm assuming. And honestly, it's going to be one of those things. We're probably going to delete the Nether Dungeon potentially at some point. We're going to want to delete the Nether Dungeon location thing, teleport point, and put it down here. But for right now, I don't want to do that just because we have our tunnel bore at this location. I haven't gone any farther than this, and we do need to go farther at some point because we need to get to the end. Okay, I hear things. That should mean we're close. Let's dig over here. And I'm going to anticipate this being terrible. Alright, let's look at the map. Should be a little bit further. Or a little bit further down. Alright, it is down. Because there is the work block. Oh, are we going to have... Hey, look, there is blazes. Blazes are what we're here for. And specifically, I want to grab this. Let's, Hi, blazes. Haha, now I have a blaze and a mob imprisonment tool. That is super important. That is really, really important. I kind of want to work our way down here a little bit. Because there is a chest right here. Elite zombified piglin. And then there's a blaze. Let's get the blaze away from him just a little bit. Ow. Perfect. Into fire. Perfecter. More perfect. English. Words. I want to open this thing. Okay. Let's get some blocks put away. Those are warm silverfish shards. So the silverfish shards are something to do with... Hi. I'm glad you guys are not hostile, but I would really prefer if you weren't right here. Well, you're eternally captured. So this place looks super dangerous. And I'll be honest, I don't really want to have much to do with this place right now. I don't feel strong enough. There's another chest over there, which I'm really tempted to try to go get. I don't feel strong enough to mess with this area. We have a blaze rod, which... I know we need a lot of blaze rods. But fire resistance would be really, really nice before we mess around with this place. As well as, you know, really good weapons and armor and all that kind of fun stuff. So I think we're going to try to get that chest because I'm greedy. And then do nothing else. Alright. because I'm still very, very much terrified of this place. There are piglin brutes. Perfect. Okay. There's wither roses too. He's very fast. Alright, let's just seal this off. I don't really want to mess around. One block opening should be fine. We're going to pop that down. And I'm even going to seal this off for the time being. And this. But I'm going to leave a mark to say that it is something. Hopefully I'll remember. Probably not. Alright. Let's grab some of this stuff. Piercing 4, smite 4. That's nice. Let's grab the wither roses. I guess we can probably come in here. It's probably safe. I don't like this. But I do like all of this stuff. That is a lot of good stuff. Let's break the stuff and get out of here. Alright, let's break that just so I know that it's there. And yeah, there are spawners. We're getting out of here. Don't really want to mess with this. And we're not going to. We have a blaze and a mob imprisonment, and I'm changing like my entire plan because I'm scared. I'll be honest. I am scared of this place. I don't feel like we're quite ready. I don't feel like our gear is overpowered enough, and I don't really want to mess around with dying a bunch. I don't think we can sleep over here. I mean, technically, we're in a nether waste. That is still a nether biome, and I would assume any sort of bed would explode here. But we can work with what we have, for the most part, I think. We're going to struggle with a little bit, but we've got a long ways to go. So, we have a blaze rod. We're going to keep that blaze rod for now, because that's going to be important. We have, most importantly, an actual blaze and a mob imprisonment tool. Now, this is super duper important because we can duplicate them. And that's all we need. Do we have normal nether wart? That is a question. I actually don't know that we do. Did we get any from our little excursion there? Well, we didn't get nether wart per se. We didn't get anything. So we might need to get nether wart. And nether wart blocks might be able to... Yeah, we can turn them into nether wart with a 25% chance. Alternatively, we can get nether wart... How? Chickens. Using a crook on soul sand, 10%. Alright. So we have a little bit of soul soil. What can we do with this? It is a lot of, like, questions of... Can we turn this into this? We can grow wither roses, which is nice. I don't know that we need to. But that is nice. So that is a long and arduous task that we'll have to look into. Let's open our uncommon loot because I want to. And compressed cobblestone. Not bad. It is what? 2x? That's pretty good actually. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start working with Industrial Foregoing. It used to be called Mine Factory. Then it was called Mine Factory Reloaded. Now it's Industrial Foregoing. And we're going to start working on this so that we can get mob duplication. If we can get mob duplication, we can duplicate blazes. If we can duplicate blazes, then we can get infinite blaze powder. We can also get the blaze blood and get our hammer. So lots of like good things we can do. So let's do that. The first thing we're going to need is a fluid extractor. This requires a pity machine frame, which is just a redstone block. You know what? I almost want to replace one of these with a compacting drawer. But I don't know if we have any lying around. I don't think we do. Alright, let's just make a couple of redstone blocks because we are going to need them. Not that many. Alright, so we are going to make this pity machine frame pretty easy. And then can we make the fluid extractor? Not quite. We need a piston. Easy enough. And some gold. And there is a fluid extractor. Now, from this, we need to make a latex processing unit. So that requires another pity machine frame. And a furnace, some iron and water. And then we're also going to need... let's go ahead and make the furnace. We are going to need some latex. Now, to get latex, we place this block in the world somewhere. I guess let's put it in here because we're going to pseudo-automate it for right now. But nothing too major. So this will, even without power, take logs and give us... See, let's just grab some logs. So if we just put this in the world, right in front of it, it will, over some time, it takes a little bit of time, it will start breaking it. And you can see the breaking things, and it starts producing latex. Now, if we give this power, it works 3 times faster, but it works for free. So let's automate that real quick, and then we can use it. So all we need for something like that is a block placer. There is a block placer from Industrial Foregoing. It requires plastic. There's probably other ways. Any other like placers, fluid placers? What if we look up block? I don't know what all mods. Your block's not going to work too well. I don't know what all mods we have to know what all we can use. There's usually a couple of automatic placers. The thing is I don't know any. We'll just use manual for right now. We are going to need another bucket, which I believe we have in here. So, yes. So we're going to need a bucket of latex. It's going to take a little bit of time, and it will draw out quite a bit of stuff from the trees, but that's going to take a little bit of time. Now, with all of that, I don't think we can make the things we need otherwise. No, not for a while. Okay, so I guess, what to do? I think what we're going to do is this. We are going to need, so mob duplicator, I don't know if it says anything, but I believe it requires, let's make sure that this is still a thing. Essence? Yes, essence is still a thing. So we can get essence from a mob crusher. We'll probably want one of those. And that's going to be a little bit of a problem, but not really. We have... No, we do not have that mod. Okay. I'm going to have to look into... So we have all the mob spawners. I'm going to have to look into what we can do about that. Because we're going to need to crush mobs for essence. And that is what powers the mob duplication. With power, obviously. And the reason why we're making all this stuff, we need to get plastic. Plastic comes from dry rubber, which comes from tiny dry rubber, which comes from the latex processing unit, which takes latex and turns it into rubber. for a little bit of power and I believe water. Do we have any sort of like sink? No. Aqueous accumulator? Aquatic entangler. Thermal used to have machine that did a thing. But I don't know if it does anymore. Because it's changed. So I need to look into a couple of things with automation. For now we can we need to get water. And we need to basically create water from anything. So a magma crucible can get water. Cauldrons can get water from leaves, which that's a cool little thing. Machine outputs, water condensator. That might be. I think that's what we want. I think that'll work. So let's make one of those. It is this thing right here. It does require some plastic, so we'll get that in a second. So basically, we make plastic. The other thing we need to do, in order to make the mob duplicator, we're going to need an advanced machine frame, which requires a simple machine frame, which requires latex and some other stuff. Nothing too major there. But the advanced one requires pink slime. To get pink slime, we need a mob slaughter factory, which slaughters mobs to give you pink slime. I believe it's passive mobs that it likes, but that's fine. This holds... Cannot fill. Yeah, we'll put that in there, and then eventually we'll have what we need. So I guess what I'll do is I'm going to step away for a moment. I'm going to try to gather my thoughts a little bit and figure out exactly what it is I want to do. Our armor is not prepared for that area. Not so much because of the blazes or anything like that, but because of the piglins. The piglin brutes are just terrible to deal with, and they will murder us. They will murder us many times over, and I'd rather not mess with that dungeon all that much. We do have a couple of things we can do. We can get some random rewards, and we can get some more random rewards. Nothing is good. Okay, so I am going to step away for a moment and start kind of planning some things. And I'll bring you guys back in once we have the latex so that we can start getting towards plastic. Alright, so I bit the bullet and I went ahead and charged up a redstone flux cell that we made a while ago and got power going to the fluid extractor, and we have enough latex for not only the bucket that I have in my inventory, but we have enough for another bucket because we are going to need more. So let's go ahead and make the latex processing machine, which is right here. And with this, we are going to want both of these buckets back. One of them filled back up with water. And we can now start making rubber. Don't go in there. If we go in there, it hurts and it makes blood and it's awful. I did that between episodes. And yeah, I had to clean it up. It was not fun. But anyways, the latex processing unit thing can go here. I don't know. All right, let's move it over. Let's put it right here. I have some universal cables. I went ahead and made more of these, and we're just going to do something like this. Output works fine, right? No. Is it orange? Orange is output? Yes, orange is output. Okay, so we need to get a cable. I don't know if I have any cables for liquids. Let's go find out. If not, I can make a mechanical pipe. No, I cannot. Do I have any mechanical pipes? No. Okay, so we need to do something about fluid transportation. Do I have any... Can I make a fluid duct? Are there fluid ducts in this? There conductors. No. Okay, so thermal expansion, thermal series, whatever you want to call it, used to have item and fluid transportation. Apparently, it does not anymore. So we're gonna have to use a mechanical pipe for moving stuff around, and that requires steel. So we're gonna need to get some coal. I might have already done this a little bit. Let's get 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab our metallurgic infuser, put that over here, and as we kind of go, we'll just make what we need. But we can start things off a little bit with just buckets. So what we can do is we can grab a bucket of latex, we can put that in here, and we can put a bucket of water in here as well, and it's going to combine the water and the latex with a little bit of power and make tiny dry rubbers. Now it requires a good bit of water compared to the latex, and we need 9 of these for 1 plastic, so we're gonna have to do that quite a bit. We'll put you back in a second, and same with you. Having 2 buckets is not good for that. Okay, I'm gonna put that bucket away. Let's grab some extra buckets, and eventually I will clean all this stuff up. But right now, it doesn't really matter. Not using it. Okay, let's just... There we go. That's fine. So we can add more water to this, and it's going to make more latex, which is what we want. And we'll eventually get things so that we can not worry about having to use buckets like that. We are going to need another bucket. Luckily, I have so many buckets. And while we're kind of waiting around for this stuff, so the latex processing unit we have, we are going to want the water condensator. So this thing, we need, what, 2 pistons? We're going to need 2 iron gears. That is easy enough. Just a bunch of iron. We have plenty of that. And then we just need plastic. 2 plastic. So 18 dry rubber. And that is kind of the annoying part. But once we get a good bit of latex, in fact, once we get some steel, we can kind of automate that. Because we can just let it flow into the machine. So while we're waiting on that, what we're gonna do, this is so complex and probably not worth my time, but I'm gonna do it anyways. We are going to play around with soul shards. They used to be very, very powerful, but you need to kill 64 soul things for a decent, like, tier 1. And if you want a tier 5, which these things are overpowered, you need 1,000. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a soul shard with blazes. Now to get a blank soul shard, we need glowstone, and let's do this somewhere a little bit away, just because I don't know exactly what it's gonna do. And we right-click the top of this, right? Or is it drop? Right-click the top of the glowstone block with a diamond in hand. Okay, that was not working. Don't know if there's more to it than I know. Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything... Let's get another glowstone block. That's glowstone dust. Maybe more space. Let's break the mega torch. Maybe it's gonna spawn something. No? Let's see if we have the Vile Sword in our hand. No. Let's switch it. No. Alright, I'm going to have to do some research on that. Let's go ahead and put our Mega Torch back because I don't want slimes. We'll leave that there. But we're going to try to get into Soul Shards to get blazes a little bit easier. So if we can get... What this mod is, and I've said this before, but this is an old mod that's been remade. And basically, if you defeat mobs, such as like a blaze, with the Vile Sword while having a Soul Shard that's attuned to blazes in your hand, or at least in your inventory, I don't know if it has to be in your hand, you will collect the souls. And as you defeat more and more, you get more and more souls, and it powers up the Soul Shard from tier 1 all the way up to tier 5. And you can put these into a soul cage, which corrupted ingots are just smelted up soul sand or soul soil, either one, and these corrupted essence, which is just obsidian, redstone, and lapis. Nothing too difficult. And then you can put the soul shard in the soul cage, and it's a mob spawner, except it's powerful. The tier 5 spawns so many mobs, it's ridiculous. This is a very overpowered mod way back in the early days of modded Minecraft, and it's still really powerful. So that is something that we are going to definitely look into. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the mob duplicator, and then we just get a tier 1 soul shard, and then we can get all the blazes we want. We might not even get that far, but it's something to try out, and having a lot of blazes is never a bad thing. So we almost have enough plastic. Let's also go ahead and complete this quest. Laser connector. Cool, but I don't really want to get into laser IO. So the other thing I have is I do have some nether wart blocks. We are going to hope. We're going to hope that if we put these in here, actually we're not even going to put them in there. We're gonna, can I, nope. Let's grab that, put that in there, and hope that it goes into this. It's going to take some time, but hopefully we come back over here in a little bit and see that we have some nether wart, because that would be nice. There were items there. Aluminum, egg. Okay, that's cool. Nothing great. By the way, it will eventually strip the oak log with all the latex, and then it'll break that down. So we have 16. We need a little bit more water. We can get 18. So let's go grab our steel. Let's make a mechanical pipe. And that should make all the rubber we need. And I know this episode is starting to go a little long. We're going to end things off here in a second. But yeah, I want to get some automation with the latex to rubber. And we're going to make the water condensator. We're going to make the block placer. Probably next time. I will do this manually for the time being. But we'll make a block placer that does require power. But it's not the end of the world, so we'll live. But let's get the mechanical pipes. So these will transport fluids, and you might have guessed, we're going to transport. We do need to grab our... do we not have... We don't, do we? Can we configure you? No. We need that thing from Mechanism that I can never remember the name of. At Mechanism, it is this, the configurator, and that is a pain to make. Okay, so do we have any other wrenches? Sometimes, maybe Engineer's Hammer will work, probably not. Okay, I can move that. That is a problem. Okay, so I'm going to need to make the configurator. I don't think we have one. and that is really unfortunate. Let's see if we do, just on the off chance that we got one from a like reward or something. Doesn't look like it, because we would need to make some alloys. So we need to be making infused alloys, which is, I guess we can go ahead and do that. That's just 4 redstone, 4 iron, that's all we need. Let's get iron. So I guess let's go ahead and do that. So did we get any nether wart from that? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so something else that I am going to do, let's just make sure that there's no nether wart in the system. There might be. And if there is, then we can get more. Nope. Okay. So I'm going to need to get nether wart at some point here in the near future. So I'm probably going to go back to the Nether Dungeon in between episodes and grab some more wart blocks from wherever we can. If I can get to some nether wart, I will, but I'm going to be incredibly safe, so I'm not going to probably show that too much just because it's going to be a quick trip in. Maybe we'll do that here in a second before we finish the episode off. I think this thing needs a little bit of power. I can't charge it in there. I don't actually know if it needs power to do what we need to do. Configurate fluids. I'm doing it wrong, of course. We need to extract from this. Perfect. So now latex will go into there, and we get the tiny dry rubber that we can then turn into dry rubber that we can then smelt up to make plastic. And then with that, we can make the next thing, which is the water condensator. Condensator. There we go. Words are difficult. So we take this now, and this works like the old thermal machine that I was thinking about. So what we do is we put it here, and we're gonna put, I guess we'll just use blocks that we have over here. Why not? So we can do this, and we're gonna grab our bucket, and we're gonna grab some water, and we're gonna put it here, and we're gonna put it here. So this will start making water from nothing, from those 2 source blocks. It basically acts as an infinite source, but it's a machine that we can then do this to and do the same thing. So now we can get water into here automatically. The latex is automatically going into here. All we need now is a block placer, like right here, putting logs right here. And then we have fully automatic latex production and rubber production. So that is what we're going to do next time. Before I go, let's go ahead and I'm going to put this stuff away. We're going to put you in here. I am going to figure out, if I can, what to do about... what can we get rid of? We don't need these. I will figure out what I can do about the whole situation with the vial shards, the soul shard stuff, and see if we can't get that to work. But that will be a potential option at least. Why is there a minecart with furnace? Strange. Not gonna question it. That was kind of spooky. I hope it wasn't our like contraption. But let's head back down to this dungeon, and let's see if there's any. So there's a bunch of wart blocks. is there any nether wart lying around? I don't see any. So let's head back over here. Yep, there's a bunch of piglin brutes. And there is also a lot of wart blocks, and I hope we don't, like, break into anything, but with a stack of them and a 25% chance, we should get what we want. So we're going to run program. We're going to start inside Nether Dungeon. Might not be the best of locations. We'll also want to come here at some point to get the wither skeletons, because those are going to be really important. But I have to wait here for another minute and a half. But we have the nether wart blocks. We should be able to crush those into nether wart. And once I get one, I can get infinite because we can grow them. So that is going to be it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't want to go down there. And yeah, I am going to head back to the base. I'm going to work on getting some more rubber, and then we will continue working towards progress. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!